before zombie movies and vampires on TV.
Back in the days of carriages and candlelight.
The master of blood-curdling stories was a man named Edgar Allan Poe.
Poe wrote about murder and morgues.
About gargoyles and graveyards.
In this tale, about a man who has lost his mind.
What? I am not crazy. You may think I am, but I am not.
And thus the tale begins.
It starts with the old man who shares an apartment with our villain.
Yes, that's right, the old man.
Would you kindly bring me some tea?
Of course, I'll be right there. With the morning paper, too.
Thank you very much. You do not look well today. Didn't you get any sleep last night?
I'm fine, old man. If anything, my senses are especially keen.
You seem to have a headache. Let me get up and fix you something.
No, you just enjoy your tea.
Such a kind old man.
True enough, the old man had never done me harm, but he had this one sickly eye. It was like the eye of a vulture. Whenever it looked at me, my blood ran cold. So slowly, over time, I made up my mind to kill him.
He made up his mind.
I was not crazy. It was his little evil eye. It haunted me. It belittled me. It drove me from the room. I had to rid myself of that evil eye. I set about the task. Night after night, I crept into the old man's room.
He shone a light upon the eye.
But every night, the eye was closed. So I waited. After all, it was not the old man who vexed me, but his eye.
The evil eye.
On the 8th night, I crept into the old man's room and heard him sit up in bed.
He cried out.
It was the groan of mortal terror, a low, stifled sound from the bottom of his soul.
Who's there?
I remained still. For hours I stood without moving, barely breathing. And then I shone my light, a single beam, upon the eye.
It was open.
Wide open, and it made me furious to look upon it, dull blue with that hideous milky foam over it. It chilled the very marrow in my bones.
The vulture's eye.
And then I heard it.
The beating of the old man's heart.
Faster and faster and faster.
Louder and louder and louder.
It increased my fury. I could not stand it no longer. I leapt. Ah! I smiled when the deed was done, yet for many minutes the old man's heart beat on. When it finally ceased, I examined the corpse. The old man was dead. Stone dead.
It was over.
The heart was still.
The eye was closed forever.
The eye would trouble me no more.
An hour later, there came a knock at the door.
It was the police.
There has been a complaint.
Your neighbors.
They called? A scream was heard.
Like this. Ah!
Yes. Ah! Ah!
Or at least that's what your neighbors were saying.
Suspicious, don't you think?
Yes, the shriek, a shriek of terror. It was my own during a dream.
Or a nightmare.
May we come in?
Look around.
Investigate?
They invited them in.
Yes, I invited them in. I wasn't worried, for I had carefully concealed the body of the old man beneath the floorboards. No human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. There was no stain, no blood whatsoever. I'd been too clever for that.
Who else lives here with you, sir?
Yes. With whom do you live?
And why isn't he here?
Ah, the old man. He is away. You see, there is his room. His bed is made. His belongings are in place.
Is something wrong?
You seem to have a headache.
You should sit down.
Yes, a fine idea. Perhaps would you join me for a spot of tea?
A spot of tea?
That would be lovely.
Yes, a spot of tea.
Indeed, for what had I to fear? I served them tea above the very spot where I'd hidden the corpse.
Ah, this is fine tea.
They say green tea is good for you, too.
But I'd have to say, Darjeeling is my favorite.
The officers chatted. I'd fooled them well. Could a crazy man have done that?
But soon our villain wished them gone.
I grew pale. Why wouldn't they leave?
Lots of strange things happening these days.
People acting oddly.
Like there's something in the air.
Then there came a ringing in my ears.
Buzzing sound.
No doubt I grew very, very pale. I raised my voice, but they still chatted.
The countryside must be nice this time of year.
Yes, peaceful, I'd say.
What with the fall colors and all.
The buzzing grew louder until I realized it wasn't buzzing at all, but a ticking sound.
Like that of a watch.
Or a clock.
Or a time bomb.
I paced to and fro. I clutched my head, but they continued to blather as on nothing was wrong.
A walk in the woods, why, it clears the mind.
Much like this tea.
Yes, it's good for the soul.
The noise grew louder, and then I knew for what it was.
Louder, louder, louder.
Couldn't they hear it? I paced the floor with heavy strides. I hissed. I gestured with my arms.
Anyway, why do they call it Darjeeling?
I think it has something to do with where it was grown.
In India, unless I am mistaken.
Then it came to me. They knew. They were mocking me with their innocent smiles and sips of tea.
Oh, the agony.
Well, all seems well here.
We should be reporting back to the station.
Thank you kindly for the tea, young man.
Louder, louder still. I could bear it no longer.
He could bear it no longer.
Villains, monsters, I did it, I confess. Tear up the floor. Here. It is the beating of the old man's hideous heart. That's right, I did it. I shan't tell you what happened next, nor shall I tell you what's to happen now, if you don't stop staring at me with your vulture eyes.
Dun, dun.